All right, I'll say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? Oh, thank you. Allow us to begin with the idea of this interaction. Systems of belief. This can also be your title for this evening if you wish. Systems of belief. Systems, structures. The idea of that which forms a pattern, a series or cycle of ideas or observations which allow you to create a perception of continuity and cohesion. Systems of belief. Now, we have discussed with you many times the idea that it is your beliefs that create the physical reality you experience. Each and every one of these beliefs is the representation of a particular vibrational resonance, particular frequency of the fundamental energy pattern that gives rise to physical reality. A particular vibration. And so as that vibration is manifested into your physical reality, as it is manifested as your physiological experiential reality, because it operates on a certain wavelength, shall we say, it will have a tendency in physiological reality to gather to itself patterns of vibratory frequency that are similar in nature to the original vibration. In this way, it will key into other beliefs, other vibratory patterns that will aggregate around this primary belief so as to set up what appears to be a frame of reference in which to understand and be able to perceive the original belief by surrounding itself with slightly out of phase vibrations, similar but not exact, so that you have a reference point, some surrounding, some illusion of a background against which you can see the primary belief. This aggregation, this drawing together of similar belief systems so as to allow the primary belief to stand out occurs quite automatically, quite naturally within you, as you say, quite second nature, so rapidly, so quickly, once again, that you may not even realize or have not realized that this is what you are doing to create the seeming background of reality that in your society you have had a tendency to think of as simply, quote-unquote, that's the way reality is. Your life happens in this reality, and the specific beliefs of your reality manifest themselves against this backdrop of the overall reality. But this overall reality is not simply that's the way it is. It is the background that you create by surrounding the primary belief structure you have with similar belief structures so that you can create a gradation, a variation of beliefs to expand outward from you to create a backdrop against which to see the primary belief of your life, the primary focus of your life. Now, these structures, after a time, have become ingrained within you to the extent that you take this background for granted, and you simply, as we have said, think of it much as if it is something that exists without you. In this way, it has been one of the primary mechanisms that has allowed you to experience the illusion of the universal reality as seemingly outside of yourself. You, in this way, may recognize that in your society quite often, because of the repetition of this idea, because this is now the way you automatically, as you say, set the stage, You have created many ideas in your society that there is only one way for this stage to be set. And it is against only that background that you measure everything in your life. But recognize, as soon as you change the fundamental, primary focus beliefs that represent the being you are, the entire background changes with it. Everything changes. Everything is connected. Everything is the same one thing. And a change in the primary focus creates what you colloquially call the domino effect, and changes occur all the way down the line in the entire pattern, in the entire backdrop. It may seem at times to be subtle, but they are far-ranging and quite widespread if you will allow yourself to recognize that they exist. Many times, therefore, when you seek to create changes in your own life, your own primary belief system focus, many times you will only continuously weigh that primary focus or change against a background that you will not allow to see yourself has changed. But if you are willing to recognize that everything changes when you change anything, then many times you will not still see the primary background in the same light. You will begin to realize that something is different somewhere, somehow. In this way, many times, this is why many of you create the seeming contradictions in your life, for you say that you wish to change the primary focus, but then when you look around in the background, you continually watch to see the same background. In a sense, to see the idea of your primary focus against the same background, rather than allowing the entire background to be a part of the primary focus and change along with it. When you look at the background in the same way you used to, you immediately cancel the change you made in your primary focus, because it is all one and the same thing. The echo, the background, carries its origin point from the original sound. Many of you, many times, will look to this echo to see changes occur in the echo before you will allow yourself to validate the changes you know you have made or you desire to make in the primary focus of your being. But if you seek validation in the echo, then you will only continue in the reality in which you have already focused yourself, because the validation must come in the primary sound, the primary signal first, before you will see it in the echo of the background reality you consider to be your exterior universe. Is all of this translated? Yes. Therefore, recognize simply that one primary belief will always in physical reality extend itself to create a seeming system of belief with which it becomes surrounded and supported, so that the primary belief can have a place, can have an existence in physical reality. No belief will exist unto itself in a void, as you say. Every belief brings with it a complete and total entourage, if you will, a complete and total set of props, a complete and total backdrop, a complete and total stage, and a complete and total audience receptive to that particular play. In this way, therefore, allow yourself, if you truly desire to change the primary focuses in your life, the primary beliefs that you are allowing yourself to be in touch with, do not play them out in the same stage. Allow yourself to know you are in a completely different locale. Everything has changed. Everything. You follow me? Thus then, you can recognize that whole systems of reality, not just one portion, but the total system of reality that you perceive your lives to be, will then change from system to system, not just particle to particle. Everything will transform in that way. Many individuals in your society simply have but to realize that many of the things they wish to see occur, Many of the things they desire to see validations of in a particular specific sense will also occur if they will change the entire system first. Then all the particles, again, that go along with the representation of the new system will also be there as well. You can do it either way. As we have said, cause and effect are the same event. You can work it from both directions. You can have a cause which creates an effect. You can have an effect which creates a cause. You can change the whole system. You can change a specific within the system. And in every case, both the specifics and the system change. You can work it from either end. Inside out, backwards, forwards, upside down. It doesn't matter. Simply, when you do make a change, allow yourself to function as if a change has occurred across the entire spectrum. Otherwise, all you are doing is focusing yourself into a localized, specific effect, and in that way you do not allow yourself to see how the change you have made within yourself has made a change in the reality you desire around you to see. You follow along?
Yes.
Sherry.
Bashar.
Oh, my. All right, you.
Okay,
remember Don Jones?
Hey.
Okay. He's got a question.
All right.
And he wants to know if his roommate is sick right now.
All right.
She's unconscious. And the doctor says she only has a few days to live.
All right.
And he says that he thinks that she's trying to communicate to him,
Yes.
but Don is not getting it.
Dawn usually thinks he is not getting it.
That's right. And he's been sick too.
All right.
So he'd like to know.
May simply be the idea of sympathetic transformation, what you call sympathetic vibrations. Recognize that the time is at hand for that individual to realize that some of the individuals that are in his life are going to transform now in ways that will allow him to transform as well if he is willing to extend his senses into the realm they are going to proceed into, to allow them to function as mirrors, to allow them to function as lures, to allow him to expand, to reach out and broaden his understanding of what he is capable of knowing. He does not have to have conscious analytical awareness of a specific message, word for word, coming from that individual. The basic message is to simply feel that that individual is still vital, still alive, and always will be. And therefore to feel the vitality and aliveness within himself, no matter what realm, what level, what plane he chooses to perceive that individual existing in, he is in touch with that consciousness as he is in touch with his own consciousness. The idea of wishing to be in touch with that being, as that being makes the transformation from physicality to non-physicality, is what will, let us say, lure him or trick him into being aware that he is in touch with his own non-physical aspects right now, because he will be willing to reach for communication with that individual beyond the physical realm, and that will lure him into being in touch with more of himself. Basically, that is the only message he needs to know. Trust the feelings, recognize the vitality in the individual, no matter what the choice of transformation. All transformations go on. All transformations keep occurring. Everything in life is a transformation. The idea is that there is no need to give support to what is perceived or thought to be or judged to be the negative aspects of this, but to recognize that this is, in a sense, its own kind of birth, and he is attending at a new birth in that way. If he is willing to have the sympathetic vibrations for that, then he himself can also be reborn in that moment and recognize himself to be a far more expanded being than he previously thought himself to be. You follow me?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I have a...
One moment.
I have another question.
All right.
Another friend of mine, whose name is Jeanne too. I don't know if you remember her. She come here. She's French-Canadian also.
Hey.
Anyway, she just died, I guess, 2 months.
All right.
2 weeks ago. And another friend of mine wanted to find out how she's doing, what she's up to.
Just fine, going through period of transition, period of relearning, period of acclimatization. There is a little bit of disorientation in the sense of not understanding how the mechanisms of the non-physical reality work, but she is having assistance, and you may find, again, that there is no accident in the sense that the individual also, to some degree, about to cross over, as you say, can also add energy to the overall event, and that they are connected. Both of them, to some degree, have some connections. And in this way, they can reinforce each other. You can reinforce them by simply sending your unconditional love to allow them the most speedy orientation that is possible for them. You follow me?
Yeah.
They are simply relearning a new understanding of the way reality is structured. They are learning as quickly as they can. They will be just fine. They are, as you say, in good hands.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
For sure.
Sure.
All right, you.
Yes. How do you have some suggestion about how we can isolate for ourselves the primary belief vibration that defines each of us as a being?
All right. Now, the idea simply is, once again, to recognize what is going on in your life and allow what is going on in your life to show you what the primary beliefs are within you that you are examining at that very moment. Then, once you get in touch with them, you can then know what the definition is, and if you do not prefer it, redefine it. All you need to do is allow the physical reality going on around you to be an accurate reflection of the primary belief you are working with at any given moment. The situations that occur in your life, as they occur, are indicative of the order in which you need to examine your different beliefs.
Okay,
You follow me?
I do.
Thank you.
Bashar.
You. Then you.
Bashar.
As,
Going with, following this line.
all right.
I've been dealing with an issue that I would like to transform, and I would like to get at the primary system of belief here so that I can transform it.
What issue?
Okay, this is regarding my work. I have created in the past, I gathered this through other systems of belief, situations which, where my integrity is questioned, and I get told that I have done something that I didn't do, which is this case, or when I tell somebody about something that somebody else has done, I am not believed. And the feeling that comes up with me is I want these people to believe me, and in their not doing so, I have in the past lost jobs over it. I do not want to create that this time, because I am truly doing what excites me the most.
All right.
And
You may still be creating a double-check system in your life for yourself. Recognize that ultimately you are the only one that can question your integrity. If you know you are functioning within your integrity, then simply trust that the situations you are attracting in your life are simply your belief that you need to consistently test whether or not, within your own mind, you are functioning within your integrity. If this is simply a program that is still running, that serves no purpose any longer, then simply to recognize that you no longer need to test yourself as to whether or not you are functioning within integrity, and therefore no longer need to attract situations that bring up this idea. It is simply that you are, let us say, running on excess current. Allow yourself to center. Do not be so fragmented. Do not be so ready to accept the idea of the judgments placed upon you from outside. As long as you continue to react to them and choose to be upset by them, you are still buying stock in the validity of those points of view. This is your opportunity to recognize that if you truly believe that you know what you are all about and truly believe that you are functioning within integrity, then even if you attract a situation of that nature, it will not cause a reaction within you. You will simply say what you need to say to represent the being you know yourself to be, and you will let it go at that. This can be also, do not forget, an opportunity for these other individuals to learn something as well, not just you. So you may be co-creating a situation in which you are willing to provide a service to them by allowing them to see how maybe they are very willing to judge and invalidate other individuals all too quickly. And by simply being centered within the being that you are, you can then attract the situation to manifest and unfold in a manner that may point this out to them, wherein then they may come back to you and say, sorry, we understand. Well, you were doing what you needed to do all along. My mistake. You follow me? This is a two-way situation. Not just all heaped upon you, poor you.
I don't want to come with victim, and in fact, I've been going my girlfriend said, in the opposite direction.
All right, then trust that you truly are going in the opposite direction.
And I've been, I think, to the point of overtaking responsibility. Okay, why did I create this? How did I create this? What is it supposed to serve me?
All right, one moment. Now, when we talk about trust, it does not necessarily have anything to do with the idea of having to analyze every single scrap of data that comes into your life. You do not need conscious analytical understanding of every single event. As a matter of fact, you do not need it for most events in your life. Living your life out will allow you to understand all you need to understand. If you had absolute conscious analytical awareness of every single circumstance and situation, you would never have a spontaneously unfolding life. You would be sitting there analyzing yourself to atoms. Stop chastising yourself because you think you are incapable of understanding. You understand in whatever way will let the life unfold. You will not have an understanding on a level that will impede your acceleration, which many times is a conscious analytical understanding. Not always, but many times. In this way, cease to invalidate yourself by assuming that you are not picking up on what you need to be picking up on. If you simply know you are functioning within your integrity, then simply act like it and stop berating yourself for thinking that you are not.
I guess I wanted to understand so that I don't have to keep repeating the same lesson in my life.
But you aren't repeating it. That's the point. You are creating the illusion of a repetition. Nothing repeats. Everything is always different. Remember what we talked about. Surface situations have no inherent meaning. You are still assuming that they mean the same thing just because it appears to be the same thing on the surface. If you know you are different, then give it a different meaning. Simply assume it has a different meaning. Do not continue to assume it is a repetition. And then you will allow things to show you how they have in fact changed. You are the one that is not letting it change because you keep assuming that what you see on the surface is a repetition, and it isn't. You keep giving it the same old meaning. Don't give it the same old meaning. Give it a meaning that is representative of the new person you know you are.
So just by my...
And it does not even mean that you have to have an absolutely conscious analytical meaning to place to it. Simply trust that it has a different meaning now because you are now a different person. Then, eventually, as you simply go on with your life, you will see how it is different. You do not have to have a conscious understanding in the moment. Simply live your life according to the integrity you know is there, and the events will synchronistically unfold to show you how it is different.
Well, when you were talking about the systems of belief in the echo,
Yes.
I was just wondering if I've been buying into the echo, and what I need to do is change my basic system of belief so that the effect will therefore be different, or I change the effect so that it's...
Fundamentally, yes. But the idea is simply far simpler than you think. The situation is there to show you that you are still invalidating yourself and still giving old meaning to apparently surface old situation. Therefore, you have now once again been given the opportunity to recognize that that's what you are doing. You are exercising that old belief system. If you are different, then exercise a new belief system. That is all the situation is there to show you.
What belief system could I put in instead to create it to be...
That it is not a repetition. That it is something new. that things are playing out exactly as they need to play out, trust, 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 because I know I am functioning in my integrity, and I know, therefore, that the situations in my life must be a reflection of that integrity, and cannot be otherwise. That's the new belief. Rather than the old belief of, oh, yeah, well, I must be still doing something wrong. These things keep happening. I must still be doing something wrong. That's the old belief. Now's your opportunity to change it. You see, many times you do not simply realize what the old belief is because it is far simpler than you think it needs to be in order to call it a belief system. They are deceptively simple. Keep them simple. Keep it right out in the open, right on the surface. I see. I am reacting to the situation. I am reacting, and therefore, basically, fundamentally, the situation must have existed for the purpose of showing me that I still react in the old way.
A lot of fear, and showing me how much this job has come to mean to me, and I do not want to lose this job.
You can't lose anything. If you continue to place such specific importance upon that need, you are the one that is pushing yourself away from it. Relax. If you know you are functioning within your integrity, and if you know you truly are doing the thing that excites you the most in life, then trust that you will continue to do so. If the situation changes, then trust it needs to change in order to allow you to continue to do the thing that will turn out to be the next most exciting thing that you need to do. Not next in terms of greater or lesser, next in terms of order. You follow me?
Yes.
If the situation changes, then do within that situation the most exciting thing you can do. Is any of this assisting you?
Yes, it's assisting me.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Trust that you are different. You simply are not trusting that you're truly different.
You're right. I'm trusting this. I'm seeing the situation and judging that. Therefore, it must mean that I'm still doing the same.
Yes, as we have said, you are taking validation from the echo rather than giving validation to yourself to begin with. You are attempting to base your validity on the existence of an echo. It has no substance. You are the original signal. Validate yourself, and then the echoes you perceive will reflect that original validation. If the echoes you are perceiving are that which reflects invalidation, then the original signal you are sending is also one of invalidation. You follow me?
Yeah, so at this point, basically, to just let go and not say or try to do anything more to...
You always have the opportunity to stand up and share what your beliefs are. State them simply, state them honestly, state them clearly. Then go on about your business. Act as if you truly believe you are functioning within your integrity, and it will get across. If you walk away from a situation acting as if they are correct, then you are only going to reinforce the idea that you truly are not functioning within your integrity. You follow me?
Yes, and I acted so emotional over the fact of being accused that I said to them, I'll swear on a stack of Bibles if you just believe me that I'm telling you the truth, that it didn't happen the way you're telling me.
You see, if you know you are telling the truth, then you do not have to prove anything to them. Period.
You're telling me that I do have to prove it.
So you decide to listen to them. That is your choice.
Well,
your proof is
it.
in being who you are. And how can you prove anything to anyone anyway? If they truly do not want to see the proof, they won't see it no matter how much proof you attempt to provide. Simply function within your integrity. Know you are functioning within your integrity. You can comply to within what you call reason to point out that you have been functioning within your integrity, but set your own standards. set your own limits in that sense. There is no need to abase yourself to their belief system in order to feel that that constitutes proof of your integrity. Because then you are not functioning within your integrity. You are attempting to live out their ideas of what you should or shouldn't be doing. All right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. One moment. You are next. Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for creating these sessions. I've been listening to the tapes for about 6 months, so I've been with you down in Costa Mesa, actually, and it's had a tremendous impact on my life in terms of creating greater excitement, joy, and love. And it's been very much fun sharing it with friends and clients.
May I ask you a favor? Will you share it a little more loudly, please?
My concern has very much to do with your introductory remarks, and probably can be based in that, I suspect. I think what has happened in listening to your ideas, I have been forming new beliefs.
All right.
And what's happening now is I'm attempting to integrate them with a little difficulty with a series of beliefs that I've probably had for lifetimes as a nun and currently coming out of a yogic system of belief.
Oh, I see.
Which has to do with reverence for spirit,
yes.
surrender to spirit,
yes.
As seeking the higher will as opposed to the lower will be done, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And
there is nothing contradictory in what we are saying. You are simply using different semantics, which perhaps has a different understanding of the mechanism. The mechanism can be described regardless of the symbols that are utilized to represent it. And the mechanism will be found to be the same for both ideas. The ideas we are presenting, the ideas you have now just outlined, simply have one particular mechanism, though many individuals may look at them in different ways and mean them to represent different kinds of action.
Can you talk more about this mechanism?
Yes, the idea simply is that what you call surrendering and going for the higher will as opposed to the lower will in that way is simply the understanding of centering within your being. Surrendering is, in a sense, taking control, being control. Being fully responsible for what you create in life. Surrendering is going with the flow, but going with the flow means you then have, paradoxically, given yourself the ability to create what you desire. That means you are in control. Surrendering is being in control. It is not giving up. The idea of going with the higher will as opposed to the lower will is simply recognizing that you have free will, but that you can choose to express yourself in a negative way or a positive way, and that if you choose to experience yourself in an integrative positive way, then you will be in synchronous harmony with the higher consciousness that you are, and you will be able to know that you are in synchronous harmony with the higher consciousness that you are. Whereas if you choose the negative way, what you call the lower will, simply by definition, you may not know that you are in synchronous harmony with the higher consciousness that you are. You follow me?
Yes.
Do you wish to continue?
No, I knew that there would be a way of integrating and a way to hold all of that. I just wanted to hear you say it. Thank you.
We thank you for bringing up the idea, for you will find that this is of paramount importance in your society at this time. In each and every one of you, as you examine the different ideas of belief systems that exist within your society, you will recognize that very often, where many different societies think they truly disagree, it is only a matter of how they are calling the idea, rather than truly disagreeing on the fundamental basics. Many individuals do not realize that what they purport to be true within their system of reality and what they purport to be false within someone else's system of reality is only a difference of labels and nothing else. Nothing else. Thank you.
Bashar?
You.
Then I want to explore that concept of surrender, because in our language, in our society, it means giving up.
Guys.
It doesn't mean taking control.
Guys, there is, in some factions of your society, a new understanding now being applied to the term surrender. We are assisting in providing that understanding. You simply utilize, as a society, that term because it is the closest approximation to the idea that you have in your language. It does not necessarily precisely describe the mechanism that is involved, but it is the closest label you have.
Absolutely. There's no better synonym for what the concept you're trying to convey.
Let us scan. we find that the majority of the references within the vocabulary of the channel that are in your language will all have to do with the idea of giving up control.
And thereby gaining greater control. Is that
the idea we are saying is that all of the reference words that could possibly be used from your language will all generally mean the same thing as your colloquial meaning of surrender. You do not have a word in your language that means giving up and taking control at the same time.
But that's the concept you're attempting
Yes.
to convey.
Yes.
To give up
Yes.
control and therefore gain greater control.
No. Not to give up control. To give up trying.
To give up trying.
Yes. To give up trying to control is to have ultimate control.
That does it. That does it. Okay, I have another paradox I'd like to, a parent paradox for me that I'd like to ask you about.
All right.
In your initial remarks and in my question, well, when you were answering the other lady, you said, trust
Yes.
that everything that's happening, that you're perfect, don't look at the echo for indications that there's something wrong with you. Trust that you are doing fine in your integrity. So that's one concept.
Yes.
But when I asked the question, you said, recognize that everything happening in your life right now is a reflection of
Yes.
what you may need to consider
Yes.
changing.
Yes.
Now,
Just as her echo is an opportunity for her to get in touch with what the belief system is. We are simply saying, pay attention to it, but do not seek your validity in it. Seek your validity in yourself.
then the paradox is a person is valid, but nevertheless there's room to change and grow.
Of course, always.
But then when you change and grow,
You become a different validation.
and from your new perspective, we have a tendency in our concept of growth to look back on where we were and think, boy, am I glad I'm here and not back there.
It's all right.
With a concept of, but you're suggesting that that's what?
You can always recognize the joy of being where you are. We are simply adding to the concept, the idea, of allowing yourself to recognize that where you are is also in existence in your linear terms because of where you were. And thus, where you were is a part of where you are. So, to truly invalidate where you have been, we are not saying that you cannot appreciate where you are now, comparatively speaking. But the idea is not to invalidate where you were, not to invalidate yourself for being the you were then, but to simply recognize that by validating the you were then, that is what allowed you to be the you are now. Whereas if you had invalidated yourself as the you were then, you would still be that you. Thank you.
Bashar?
You!
Bashar, I'm experiencing confusion in just about all areas of my life right now.
Good.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Some of your remarks earlier on the backdrop of one's reality. My backdrop actually has changed,
Right.
and I think that that's part of my confusion is because I don't quite know what to do in it now.
Oh, very good. This is, once again, still to some extent the limbo state in which you have unplugged from your previously conceived of structures, and you have as yet to plug into the idea of the new structure, so you are still examining all the probable ways that you can create that structure to be. It may seem to be a foundering state, but that is simply because you are not used to the idea that change is truly the only constant. When you recognize that all the changes that are going on that may make you feel as if you are in limbo is truly a solid foundation because you are now in touch with far more probabilities than you were before, then you will be able to find solidity within it and give yourself a sense of direction. Now, within that limbo state, once again, the idea of orienting yourself is always very simple. Very simple. Do what excites you the most at any given moment that you are able to act upon.
Well, that worries me a little bit. Because,
Why?
Well, because I've always thought that I had to have a job. Okay, my belief system
Yes.
says I have to have a job. and yet I either leave the job or I get fired. And recently, I've been fired in the last 3 months from 3 jobs. And
All right. Did you enjoy those jobs?
Well, actually, I got a lot done. But,
All right.
But I also didn't enjoy being in the office space that I was in all 3 jobs.
Well, then.
I wasn't doing
Got what you wanted, didn't you?
I did. I wasn't enjoying it.
All right.
And it wasn't exciting.
That right there is what we are talking about by taking that as a sign that everything is working perfectly. You got what you wanted. Your life always works. Always works. When you place invalidations upon yourself, you do not see that it is working. That is the only difference.
I do see that
All right.
I did get what I wanted. And now,
Yes.
as I'm really concerned.
Oh, concerned.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I don't.
Then you are still not willing to trust that your life is working perfectly.
Well, it is working perfectly.
Then why are you concerned?
Because I haven't paid my rent.
So, maybe you don't need to.
Well,
Oh, she was about to consider it just for a second. You are not as closed as you thought.
that's true.
If you truly trust and are willing to do what excites you the most, you will have what you need. If you need the money to pay the rent, if that paying of the rent is what will allow you to continue to be the thing that excites you the most, then being the thing that excites you the most will allow you to pay the rent. If you can be the thing that excites you the most without paying the rent, you won't get the money.
Oh, God.
But that means you don't need it. Because if you can be the thing that excites you the most without having to pay the rent, then simply take it for granted that that's not something you have to worry about. You will have what you need. You will be comfortable. Because if you are not comfortable, you can't be the thing that excites you the most. One way or another, you will be made to be comfortable. It doesn't have to be having to have money to pay the rent, does it? Can it not be that someone may simply give you a place to live?
Yeah.
Well then, all right. All we are saying is that why not open up to the possibility that another avenue can come to you rather than being so insistent on the particular avenue of having to have money to pay the rent? Because that's what closes the doors that allows all the other things to come to you perhaps even more easily than having the money to pay the rent.
You're right.
Oh, thank you.
That's true. I did have a look at that, and you're right about that. And I want to ask you one thing about self-love, and that is, I've had the most wonderful experiences with people recently, and their reflections are absolutely beautiful.
As are you.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Now, I'm wondering why it is that I don't quite understand why they should like me or love me the way they do.
Because you don't believe you love yourself that much or that you are worth loving?
Well, I think I am worth loving.
Then why is it a mystery? Are you willing to love them?
Oh, yes.
Well, then why is it a mystery that they love you?
I'm not sure why it's a mystery.
Then it isn't one.
Okay. All right, it's not a mystery.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One more thing, and that is I have a constriction in my throat, which occurs at no predictable time that I'm aware of. And it's like I...
What is it you wish to do in life?
Talk.
I see.
I really enjoy talking.
Well then, when you allow that to be the thing you are, and when you use it as what excites you the most, there will no longer be a constriction, will there?
No.
When you let it flow, you won't constrict it.
It's correct that I don't let it flow.
All right then.
You're right.
Let it flow and there will be no constriction. May I remind you, your primary job in life is to simply be you. And that is a job you will never get fired from. You have it for life.
Well, I do enjoy it.
All right then. Enjoy it in whatever way you desire to enjoy it. Enjoy it in the way that excites you the most. You will be supported. Plain and simple. trust is all there is.
I agree.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome, yay.
In relation to what the last girl was just saying about her job situation.
That's the last girl, yes.
So in doing that, I realized on Wednesday night that I had set up the idea that the only way to pay the rent was to do something that I didn't really enjoy.
All right.
So when I realized that limitation that I had created, it immediately had served its purpose. And so the next day, I left, like I gave in my notice for the job.
All right.
So I just wanted to share that with you, that we do impose limitations sometimes on ourselves to show us.
No kidding. Thank you for letting me in on that.
You're most welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes.
As we're talking about all this, I remember an experience I had many years ago where I almost died. But it's really a beautiful analogy to what you're talking about.
All right. Do share.
It was in Pennsylvania. There was sort of a quarry there with a waterfall that fell into some very churning water, and then it moved over to the right, and it went down in this long chute of water into a kind of a quiet pool. And people were swimming in it, and they were used to doing it, and it looked very exciting. So I jumped into it.
Hey.
And into this changing water. And when I jumped into it, it was very changing indeed, because I found that I could not really keep my head on the surface, and I was getting tired very rapidly, and I began fighting it in an effort to remain on the surface and remain in control. And of course, because of that, my energy was depleted very rapidly.
Nice.
And the only thing that I could do, in my fashion, was to register as much terror on my face as I possibly could to the person who was up on this rock that I jumped off of, and to register the idea that yes, indeed, I was drowning. And I thought, oh my God, I'm drowning. I'm actually drowning. I don't think I want to do this. And because I got so tired from fighting it, I had to surrender. I actually had to surrender. There was no choice.
Right.
And the current itself took me over to the side. And I thought, oh God, I don't want to go down that long stretch
Yes.
like a tube of water. I don't want to do that. And the current kept taking me over, and I didn't quite realize it. And I reached out my hand, and no one could grab it. They wouldn't grab it. And there I started going down that chute that I didn't want to go down, and it was that chute of water that actually kept me on the surface.
Yes.
And I just kept my feet up, and then I went down to this pool. You get the analogy?
What a beautiful analogy. Yes. And you will also find the analogy that is why many individuals, simply because they have been taught no other way, will continue to try and struggle until they get so tired they can't do anything else but let go.
Well, I do that all the time. I do have one quick question.
Okay.
Last week you mentioned something about the mucus in my throat mixing with milk,
Yes.
causing mixing with the toxicity in there. I would like to know what if you can tell what the toxicity is.
You can do your research. The vocabulary does not exist within the physical channel. You will find that the substance that you call the milk will create toxins within the system. And it will, in many ways, reveal itself in the form you call the increased production of the mucus.
I see. I thought you meant that the toxicity of the milk was mixing with another toxicity in my body that was causing this.
Some of what you call your milk does have toxicities.
I see. This has been going on for about 2.5 months. And then the other question is, there's a thing I got in the mail about whole brain learning.
Nice.
This guy, John David, has an institute, a doctor of whatever, I don't know, many things.
A doctor of whatever. Oh, my.
And the reason I'm asking is that
He can be a doctor of whatever, whenever he wants.
one reason it interests me is that or caught my interest, is that it deals with whole brain learning, or the idea of blending those two sides of the brain.
Yes.
And it does this by having, I believe, 7 levels. There are tapes involved and many other things. But
there are many tools that can allow you to recognize that you are one whole consciousness. Avail yourself of whatever you are attracted to, but recognize that all the empowerment and all the ability is within you.
Okay. I was just wondering if subliminals is, I suppose, it's whatever you consider it to be.
Okay.
Some back off on subliminals.
If you have a strong belief that the idea can be more firmly implanted within you through what you call subliminal suggestion, then that is what will generally have a tendency to occur in your reality.
Of course. All right, thank you.
Thank you. You.
I'd like to pick up from a conversation that was happening earlier
All right.
regarding self-love, unconditional love.
All right. Self-love, unconditional love.
I need to give
Speak
you,
up.
All right. In my experiencing unconditional love, I started on a gradient with my dog, which was very easy.
All right.
Okay, then I moved up into my close female friends, and that was very easy.
All right.
And I've moved into other gradients, and they were very easy.
All
of course,
right.
I'm taking the easiest of all of those groups.
All
However, I find, and I'll put it one other way, I find that I serve as a reflection to others in terms of unconditional love.
All right.
And I find that when they flow unconditional, well, I've already said that, okay. What problem, or excuse me, not problem, however, I want to change it from a problem to a situation.
All right.
And then I want to change the whole belief system. What I'm getting at
Yes.
is there seems to be, when it comes to unconditional self-love,
Yes.
there seems to be this incredible, hard to believe that is, a separation of self from self. There seems
Self
to be...
from self.
Okay, I don't know... Okay, just to put it very simply...
Thank you.
There is an enormous... It appears that I have created the most enormous barrier to self-love. I can love in any other direction. I can see others loving others. I can receive love from others. But when it comes love from self to self...
Contradiction.
I am stumped.
Contradiction.
Great. Well, that's probably it. So how can you help me?
Receiving love from others is giving love to yourself.
Yes, I can have it on that gradient, but there's this...
One moment.
But.
I'll tell you what the barrier is right now. You think in gradients instead of wholes. Whole ideas, whole events. If you think in gradients, then you have the possibility of creating a gradient beyond which a certain idea will not proceed.
Right.
If you think in whole concepts, then everything simply is where it needs to be all at once. And each and every event is each and every other event. To give love is to have love. To receive love is to have love, is to be love. It is all the same thing.
Wow, there just seems to be some huge amount of counterintention to that occurring.
Then you enjoy gradients. And you are learning something from them. Then simply assume that you have something to learn in the exploration of the gradients and love your gradients.
I prefer to change the entire belief system.
Then it is changed. To have the ability to have a preference to change it means it is changed. All you need to do is start acting like you believe that you truly have a preference to change it. And stop insisting that you have a gradient within you.
That's fascinating. That's something I hadn't thought of.
Oh.
I think I've thought of everything else.
All right.
Well, thank you. I'll enjoy that.
All right. Thank you very much. If you wish, sleep on it.
I certainly will. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You.
For about 6 years, I've been trying to control my life through
Trying.
visualizing.
All right. Trying.
Okay.
Trying.
And
Trying. Has it been tiring?
it's been very tiring, and I've been very frustrated because.
Yes. Well, trying will generally bring on frustration.
But I've been told that you can change certain things about your life
Yes.
by visualizing it the way you want it to be.
Yes.
So I set up expectations
Yes.
for myself.
Yes.
If they don't happen, and I go, the hell with it. And
All
I
right.
want to throw it all away. And
All
now
right.
I'm just at the point where I'm tired of swimming.
All right. Now, expectancy and expectations are two different things. Expectancy is what you need in your visualizations. That is simply the knowingness that the idea you are focusing on is truly representative of the being that you are. Expectations, many times, are actually invalidations and judgments. Because you are saying, if I don't see it exactly this way, then it is not valid in any form. You follow me? Many times, if you are not truly honest and in touch with what your belief systems are to begin with, you will simply not allow yourself to experience the manifestation in the way that it could come to you most easily. You will remain insistent on seeing it only in a particular way. You will create a stubbornness within you that will not allow you to experience any manifestation of it whatsoever until you see it exactly the way you think you need to see it, and therefore you will feel like you are not making any progress.
Right.
There are many different manifestations, many different ways it can manifest. If at first your exact visualization does not manifest, allow the way it has manifested to be the way it needs to show you what you need to get in touch with within yourself to then restructure the belief so that you can get closer to the exact manifestation. You follow me?
Yeah.
You are not letting yourself learn from what happens. You are simply being stubborn. You follow me?
Yes.
All right. Now, also, the idea of doing that requires complete and total honesty with yourself about what you truly believe you want. For many times, the things that you are visualizing for, you do not really want. So get in touch with yourself on that level as well. And many times you will find that the idea of a visualization can simply be an overall pattern that will point you in the correct direction, but does not necessarily have to manifest literally. Who knows? It may actually happen in a more grand way than you were capable of visualizing. But since you insist upon the visualization, you also may not let it happen in the grander way.
Right. Well, I'm swearing off visualization for a while.
Oh, you do not have to. Simply relax a bit about the idea. Now, there are, once again, techniques that many of the individuals in the room with you tonight are aware of, in particular one that comes from the consciousness Lazarus that may be able to get you in touch with the idea of visualization and the idea of what your belief systems are. And this we can suggest to you, and it may be of some assistance. But the idea, as you have already expressed it, is to relax. For you see, the idea is that if you are trying too hard in the visualization, then you are not allowing it into your life. You are trying to make it happen. You are trying to force it to happen. And when you do that, you are invalidating what is going on in your life right now. Allow the visualization to occur. Do not force it to happen or make it happen. Allow it to happen.
Okay.
Treat it as a daydream. Enjoy it.
Okay. I can do that because sometimes it excites me. So when it excites me, just do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Follow your own timing and trust your instincts in that way. Then simply trust that you have activated something. Let it be an activation in whatever way it needs to be. Simply be on the lookout for the signals, but do not put expectations on what those signals must be.
Right.
Let yourself be just as sensitive in the intuitive way as to what they turn out to be, and that will give you the clues to let you know how to home in on the original visualization. Many times, once again, you will find that sometimes the original visualization is not truly what you wanted after all. And the situation, the way it occurs, can put you more directly in touch with what it is you truly want. Thus, the visualization may change.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You, then you. Guys.
Okay. I have a question here for Rosemary, who is not here tonight.
All right.
She has a problem with her knee.
Oh, what?
A situation with her knee.
Ah.
It's hurting her a great deal.
I see.
And she said this used to only occur after she did exercise like gardening or something, and today it started up when she was just sitting at her desk at work. And she wants to know if you have...
The only suggestion we have at this time is to examine the circumstances going on around her at her job and her particular attitudes toward the situations that may be changing. Okay. To be aware of the tendencies of the shifts going on in her job and see if she can create a correlation between her attitudes about it and the idea that she is creating in her physical body.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar.
Male.
Yes, I recently, about 2 or 3 months ago, situations in my life started to fall in place very easily toward things that excited me the most and seemed to be very much in line. Then abruptly, they stopped and it leaves me sort of very disoriented.
They have not stopped. They have only changed in an unexpected way. Do not assume they have stopped, otherwise you are reinforcing your inability to perceive them in the manner they now present themselves. All right. Open up. Open up. Open your vision wider. Acknowledge more symbology than you are used to. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. You.
All of a sudden I got
Speak up.
All of a sudden.
Speak up.
All of a sudden.
Ah.
I saw a dolphin in your chair.
Ah.
Right beside you.
Ah.
A black dolphin.
Ah.
Very beautiful. Is there anything that...
There is a blending of the energy. You are simply perceiving the idea.
Oh.
And there will be the idea of communication after your break to some degree.
Oh.
Thank you. One moment. Very.
Yeah, hi, Bashar. Thank you. Telepathic as hell tonight, aren't you?
How are you doing?
Much better. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I guess you were aware I came in and...
How is your heart?
Doing better than it was.
All right. Ah, laughter. Thank you for your gift.
Yeah, you haven't heard it from me for a while, have you?
A little bit of time has passed.
Yeah.
Are you relaxing?
Yep, beginning to.
Just put your feet up and make yourself at home.
You're a doll, Bashar.
Thank you.
I don't know whether, I created, of course, phenomenal consternation, which I'm sure...
Consternation?
Yeah. Over the last 2 days.
Is that one of the countries on your planet?
I think it's one of the countries in my planet.
The consternation.
Yeah, I think I'm going to dissolve the country.
All right.
Transform it into something else.
Allow trade to occur across the former borders. It will only enrich the overall productivity of the entire planet that you are. The entire universe that you are.
Lovely. I think I want to address this game just a little bit with you.
All right.
It sounds like my friend Dreamfinder's coming through later on. That'll be neat.
Dreamer. Yes.
I went in today to someone who was very caring, but also very dedicated in their path and their direction.
All right.
And very lovingly invited me to consider that I was going to lose the true path to what I wanted to achieve, and I took that invitation, created a lot of misery for myself.
All right.
And
nice of you to accept. Generous of you to accept the invitation to their party. Now you are tired from partying with them so much.
Thank you very much, Bashar.
Thank you very much for allowing yourself to center, and of course remember once again that your truth is the truth, Their truth is the truth. The truth is all truths. Once again, if there were only one way, there would only be one person. I assume that if that individual had a conversation with someone he considered to be someone else, then that, in obvious fashion, indicated that there is more than one way.
Say that one again. I didn't track with that last time.
Thank you. An individual finding themselves attempting to convince someone else that there is only one way is living a contradiction, for they are communicating with someone else, and that someone else obviously is another way.
Yeah, that's nice. Plus they don't recognize that.
Perhaps. But then you can extend them an invitation to your party as well.
Actually, I did a pretty good job of that. I did a nice job of that. I walked away invalidating my worth. Oh, I did that so well. In every category that you could conceive.
Well, we have said many times that you are a world of masters of limitation.
Very good.
Thank you, Master.
Okay. Thank you, Bashar.
You may all take a short break. All right, I'll say, Strawberry.
Yes.
Allow us to remind you simply also that many of the old Orion ideas are simply present to allow many of you to recognize how much you have changed.
Lovely.
And please remember always that when you make the decisions for your life based upon what you instinctively know to be true for you, please relax into the understanding that the infinite Creator loves you unconditionally no matter what you choose anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, baby.
Sharing?
Bashar.
You.
Bashar, going back to your opening statement this evening.
Yes.
On belief systems.
Yes.
Is an individual actually creating a belief as they have a sense of who they are?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so they surround themselves with this system or this echo, which could also be not just ideas, but individuals.
Yes.
Okay.
Same thing.
All right. And as you change your belief in who you are, the individuals around you will also change.
Yes.
Okay.
Whether they remain physiologically the same or not, they will change.
All right. So to become more in the present time, dealing in that present moment, you would then tend to...
In which present moment?
The present moment that you are in.
Oh,
moment.
this present moment. This moment. Rather than that present moment.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, being in this present moment.
Yes.
Focusing entirely here and forgetting the past would mean that those echoes wouldn't have any support or any...
In a sense, yes.
Okay. Now, I'd like to, using that idea, you yourself as a belief system,
yes.
What is created here in the audience in terms of a support system in relationship to how you change every moment?
The idea is that we simply know we attract to ourselves the individual idea, belief system structures that are representative of our capability of assisting you in the transformations that you desire to take place upon your planet. We attract no one else.
What about your belief systems?
You are all an expression of my belief system.
Okay, that's why you were attracted here, or
yes.
we were attracted
as the same, both ways, simultaneously. Each attracted unto each. It is a co-creation.
All right.
Do you people go to channelings?
In a sense. Since I am at one right now. They are not structured in that way. No. We are simply open and receptive to many different forms of communication from many different levels of consciousness, and in that sense, you can say that's a channeling.
Bashar,
Yay!
a while ago, during the early part of the talk, you mentioned that certain vocabulary was not available in the channel's memory system. Could
Yes.
you not use mine or someone else's in the room?
It can happen from time to time, but once again we are dealing with also, let us say, through the belief system of the physical channel as well.
And is that because you're tuned simply with that particular identity?
Basically, it will begin to transcend some of these ideas in time, but it will be at a rate that is comfortable for the physical channel as well. Now and then, let us say, colloquially, when the channel's guard is down, we can extend our understanding into many of the belief systems that you represent as well, now and then.
That's wonderful.
It will happen more often and more often when there is more of a focus in this direction on the part of the physiological channel as well.
As you know, you're freely free to use mine at any time.
Oh, yes. Thank you for your offering. You!
I was listening to another channel called by the name of John.
Yes.
And they were saying that since love is the closest thing to what we are,
Yes.
to express it. You know?
Yes, love is what you are made of. Yes.
Is what we were made of.
Yes.
And,
Love is what you are.
And to express it. If we're not expressing it, then what are we doing?
Thank you. In a sense, you are always expressing it. Since you are made of love, every act is an act of love. But the idea is that if you are functioning in that expression through your integrity, then generally you are aware and in synchronous harmony as the representation. If you are not functioning within your integrity, then nobody knows what the situation is about consciously, and in that way you run into what you call communication gaps about what it is you are doing as a service.
Because when I think about it, I'm thinking, well, I mean, what's love to me might not be love to someone else, so how do you know if you're really expressing that idea?
All right, this is why we use the term integrity. Integration. Once again, the ideas of right, wrong, good and evil, and many different symbols and relationships and terminologies within your society are simply value judgments. And in this way, as you have said, one individual may feel that something is an act of love and another may not. Therefore, we simply refer to the, let us say, more precise definition of positive or negative expression. Positive generally being representative of that which integrates or gathers together into a whole, and negative generally being indicative of that which separates, segregates, or limits into components. Now, if you find an individual expressing something to you in that way, that allows you to be integrative within that relationship, then it can be said you are receiving a positive expression. If an individual is offering you an opportunity to experience separation, segregation, and limitedness, then in a way, the offering is one that is negative intrinsically. You follow me?
I guess.
Both are still expressions, in a sense, of love, since even the negative offering can allow you to have an experience from which you can learn and grow. But that is your decision. Depends on how you look at it, how you take it.
Also, I was thinking...
Basically, the expression that you call love generally is referred to as the positive expression, because once you have the positive integrative expression, then you are consciously, harmoniously aligned with creation, rather than unconsciously aligned. Love lets you know that you deserve love. In that sense. Negative expressions usually do not bring with it an understanding of deservability or connection to a unity. Does that assist you?
Yes, I think so, because I was getting quite confused.
All right. We are simply, once again, dealing with semantics and the terminology of your language.
Also, I was thinking that if you don't judge someone, that's not an action. So, in a sense, it's not really giving. It's a perspective of your point of view.
You can have an observation, so to speak, without creating an invalidation, yes.
And so, but that's not really an action of giving, of what they say, giving love. It's just a point of view.
In a sense, yes. But in that way, it is an allowance of that being as they are, and to some degree, that is an act of love.
Okay.
Bashar,
I define love for me at this moment as a willingness or even an eagerness to experience or pervade that vibration.
All right. Many individuals operating through lack of integrity still have an eagerness to experience very exciting things.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
If someone says, I love you,
yes.
What they're saying there, is the way I see it, is they're willing to be that vibration.
Yes, it is, generally speaking, a participatory action that expands integrity, adds together, so that, as you have said, the sum becomes more than just the parts in combination. You follow me? Thank you. You. Thanks.
Okay. I really
Speak up.
I looked at the dissertation or discussion we had about gradients.
Guys.
And I realized when it comes to the unconditional, let's say the self-love area, it looks as if it's all or nothing when it comes to unconditional self-love.
All or nothing.
Well, if it's not gradients, it's either a total self-love or there appears that there is an absence of self-love. Now, I would like to experience just for a moment, for starters or more, if it occurs, what it would be like to remove all judgment, all expectations, and for a moment or more, I'm totally willing to have more and have it in an infinite
Stand up.
experience as well. Yes, sir.
Turn around 3 times. Sit down.
Thank you.
Stand up. Sit down. Say something. Anything.
Anything.
Thank you. Are you beginning to get the idea of spontaneity?
Yes.
You do not have to ask if you can take off your shoes. You simply take off your shoes. You follow me?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, the idea is that in living in the moment, that analogy can suffice for allowing you to simply recognize that as you go with your flow in a spontaneous way, then you are simply in full trust, full centering, and what needs to be there is there. Do you think that when we come through the channel, the so-called dissertation that we give you at the beginning of the session is something that we have planned?
What my reality is, I've thought about that, and what seems real to me is that you are perceiving the mass consciousness of this room and what is most pertinent at that very moment when you begin to speak, what is most needed.
I have absolutely no idea what I am going to say until I say it.
Right, and I just get the idea that you just tune into the room, to the people in the room, and you get what is needed. Because, well, I personally feel that you're talking to me, but I know all the rest of us.
All right, it is even, in a sense, more centered than that. Because the idea is not specifically that I tune into the people in the room and say what is needed. I tune into myself and say what feels true to myself to say, trusting implicitly that what I will say, because I am co-creating this interaction, will be what the people need to hear.
Thank you for sharing that. I wondered about that.
That is the idea completely of everything is synchronicity. That is the idea of trust. Acting upon your instinct. Acting upon your instincts within integrity. That will allow you to, at any given moment, know what you need to know when you need to know it. Not before, not after. Thank you very much.
Don't you have an idea of what you're going to say when something in the world happens, such as a space shuttle disaster or something like that? We pretty much have an idea that something will be said about it.
If I choose to create the idea of making myself aware of that event in that way, then there can be a spontaneous creation in that sense. However, I do not formulate the methodology of how I will share this idea with you. I do not necessarily even formulate the idea that it will be shared. Simply, once again, in the moment of the interaction comes all the understanding that A, it is to be shared, and B, how it will be shared. That does not mean I am not aware of the idea before we speak of it. But what I am not aware of is how we will speak of it. You follow me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are we finished, Bashar?
You tell me. I will wait.
Well, I'm wanting.
Speak up.
I'm wanting to tie in. Everything that just occurred, so that.
Okay.
I can feel that we have completed the interaction and.
What is it that must happen for you to feel that way? What in your imagination will have occurred to allow you to feel that the interaction has been completed?
Well, what I had in mind when I introduced this idea was
Oh, very well said. That came through the clearest. For it was a spontaneous reflection of what you truly felt in the moment. Yes, and therefore it was full of wisdom. You see, you can do it.
Perhaps it's just being too analytical.
Maybe.
And efforty all the time.
Oh, maybe. Oh, efforty.
I would just... I would just love to experience the idea, and talking about it is not the same thing as experiencing it, as we both well know.
Yes.
The idea of self-love without any judgment, just to see what it's like.
Just to see what it's
just
like.
Initially, you see, because once I experience it and I'm being it.
All right. Let me ask you a question, if I may. Oh, thank you very much. Can you give me one reason why you shouldn't give yourself unconditional love?
Not in front of all these people.
Yes. You see, because I tell you this, I asked you that question at this time because I know that you will not be able to come up with one that I will accept. Go ahead, do your best. Not one reason that you have for not loving yourself will hold any water with me.
Well, I will
Oh,
say...
come on. Use your imagination.
The things I'm tempted to say, I think all fall into the category of backdrop.
Backdrop.
Remember what we were talking about before? Background or backdrop?
No, I forgot. Now, are you simply taking the terminology that we used and adding it to your gradient? Or does it really mean something to you?
Well, I think anything that I volunteered, you would probably say that it's not in the moment, so...
So you will not even attempt it?
So what difference does it make?
Oh, all right. You tell me, what difference does it make? The difference it makes is that you will have done it. And that will be a spontaneous now action. Have you ever done anything in your life spontaneously at all? Anything at all?
Yes.
Then did you not realize that in that moment you utterly trusted and therefore utterly unconditionally loved yourself? Maybe it just occurred to you.
Yes, I don't think I ever put those together.
Well, now you can.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I find myself living in the past so much, even the way I'm talking.
You cannot live in the past. You can think about the past all you want, but you can't live in it.
Right, and the times I have been most centered, I've had no sense of present, past, or future. I was just there.
Perhaps the difficulty, if I may borrow that word for a while, is in having a particular expectation about what you think it should feel like to be centered. And constantly judging yourself to be out of center simply because of your definition.
I have had a few very, very, very special experiences like that. But
all right, one moment. Let me remind you of something. Let's get down to basics, shall we?
Shall we, yes.
All right. In all reality, fundamentally, ultimately, you are always centered. Always. Always, always, always. You have to be completely centered. You have to be a complete creator in order to be able to create a scenario in which it seems you're out of balance. So you have always been centered. Even when you have used your mastery to create the illusion that you are not.
Why would I want to do that, then?
You tell me.
To learn.
To learn what? That you don't prefer.
Right.
All right. Then recognize that you are centered. Recognize you are centered then. And stop assuming you're not. If you have learned the lesson, stop living it. Live something else.
Is it necessary to figure out what the lesson was there to teach or whatever? In other words,
we just figured it out.
That I don't choose to be that way anymore.
Yes.
Right.
Keep it simple.
Right.
If you need any more conscious analytical awareness than that, you'll get it. Keep it simple.
Okay.
Again, look at it the other way if you wish. Simply think of a real good reason why you simply can't go on.
Why I can't go on?
Why you should hold yourself into the idea of the old pattern. Why you cannot simply allow any reason to be good enough to change the idea. Rather than say, no, I'll stay in this format until I dig out the real reason. Now, there may be one that you have manifested to be more the real reason than any other reason. But any reason will do if you are willing to use that reason to go ahead. And then again, paradoxically, as soon as you go ahead, it will probably occur to you what the old real reason was. Because you will be in a more expanded point of view, it will give you a broader perspective, and the broader perspective will allow you to understand what it was you were doing back then. You see, the idea is, all you need to do is to keep living your life to have a complete understanding of everything in it. But if you stop and wonder, stop and ponder, stop, I will not go on until I understand this, that, and the other thing, then you will never go on. When you simply go on knowing you will ultimately understand this, that, and the other thing when you need to, then you will simply go on. This, that, and the other thing will not hold you back, and ultimately you will understand why you didn't know this, that, and the other thing back then, but why you know it now.
Sometimes there is so much judgment occurring that I find myself stopped absolutely dead in my tracks. I mean, I don't even feel as if it's living or that I am going on except by the linear definition of it.
Is that the you still are, or is that the you used to be?
That's the you I used to be.
All right. Then don't talk as if it is the you still are.
Good. It's just...
This is what we mean when we say if you know you have changed, act as if you have. Trust it and act as if you have changed. Don't keep talking like the old person.
Right. What if the words don't come? Okay, I've been going through something similar where I'm feeling many, many different feelings inside.
Yes.
And when a person talks to me...
Before you go on, may I remind you of something?
Yes?
A feeling comes after a belief. If you have a feeling, that's a reaction to something you already believe to be true. The feeling doesn't come first. The feeling can show you what the belief is that created the feeling. But the feeling does not come first. that created the feeling. But the feeling does not come first. The belief is there, maybe invisibly, because you have put it in your unconscious or subconscious mind. So when you have a feeling, the feeling is the mechanism that allows you to bring the belief to the conscious surface. Because the feeling is a reaction to a belief you already have. Now, does that change something about what you are going to ask?
No, it doesn't.
Go ahead.
It doesn't match what I'm feeling.
Go ahead.
I've been, as you said last weekend, all the expectations are gone. And that rigidity, the rigidity with how I was functioning, that's fizzled. And so I'm open, and I'm feeling feelings, and they're wonderful.
All right.
And there's a part of me that, well, the feelings feel good. And there's a place where I want to stop them because the belief is that they're overwhelming, but they're not.
All right, obviously they're not.
And when I find myself in interacting with people,
Okay.
I get a little scared because I feel like, if I'm going to let out my mouth what I used to let out of my mouth, then I'm going to be in an old interaction, and I don't want to do that anymore. So
But is that what you truly instinctively feel like letting out?
No.
All right.
I bring myself more to the interaction, and I allow myself to feel more than I've ever felt before. That's
all right.
Good.
So you are saying you have the belief that you might slip
Yes.
and say something you used to say. Well, all right, so what? If you do say, oh, well, that was the old me.
Or perceive that how another person's reacting to me is the same old way that I used to perceive things.
Well, so what? Do you prefer to think in those terms?
No, because, well, I'm starting to...
This must be catching edge. All right. How do you feel right now?
Here.
You feel here.
Yes.
All right. Then, would you enjoy staying here?
Yes.
Then do so.
Yes, I am.
All right. And remember. All right.
I've always wanted to say that.
Thank you. And now you have.
What did he say? Well, Bashar has always said, let me tell you this. I've always wanted to jump in and say a kiss is just a kiss.
And now she has. When you talk about yourself in parts, you reinforce the belief that you have a part that can undermine the rest of you. When you think of yourself as a whole, then the idea that you prefer to be will be true for the whole of you, and you will not contain a part that does something different.
Right.
And to think that you do means that you are wholly being another idea other than what you say you prefer to be. All right?
Yes.
Thank you. Kisses. As
Bashar, if feeling comes from it's a belief,
yes,
then knowingness, is that before belief?
yes,
So then the knowingness, is that the connection to the higher?
yes,
You want to call it higher?
yes. There is existence, knowingness, belief, emotion, thought. In the colloquial sense of the term thought, meaning mental activity. Knowingness comes after existence. Existence is first, then knowingness, then belief, then emotion, then physical thought.
Is that a condensation of the same thing?
In a sense, it is the first fundamental indication of the separation within the oneness. First there is the oneness, the existence, the all that is. For that to know itself invokes the first separation, because then it creates a reflection. And therefore, in that way, knowingness comes secondary to existence itself, which is simply oneness. Then the knowingness breaks down into different modalities of knowing, different expressions of knowing, which manifest themselves in physical reality as the different belief systems. I know this of myself. Then the emotion, the energy motion that activates it in physical reality, then the thoughts that are the representations of your perceptions of what you have created, the reflections, the echoes.
So to work our way back, we allow our feelings so we can get in touch with our beliefs, so we can work back through to knowingness.
Yes.
Are beliefs like knowingness with a little doubt on it?
Yes. In one way of saying, yes. They are specified knowingness as for a particular purpose at hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you a couple areas.
A couple of areas.
Yeah,
I
wanted to hear more about. I want to hear more about what you experience, things that in your world, in your life.
Such as?
Well, things like. I mean, if you wanted to fly your body around or experience anything like that, or.
Yes. This is beginning to occur in our civilization quite a bit.
Yeah.
As we are transcendental forthwith from physicality to non-physicality.
Can you wear a Superman suit, for sure?
If we wish.
You know your counter selves that are manifestations of the same oversoul.
At this point, truly, in a sense, in our society, everyone is.
But you had spoken of anima as a
Yes.
counter self.
The idea at that time was simply directed in the sense of our particular purpose. But in an overall sense, everyone in our society is a part of the same oversoul.
You experience that unity.
Yes.
Even though you have an individual physiological manifestation.
Yes. We experience the unity through the feelings of unconditional love that we have for every single being in our society. You follow me?
Yes, but what I was driving at was if I could understand your experience on a, if you will, day-to-day basis, the degree to which you experience your integration with the mass consciousness.
Well, it can occur in many different ways, some of which are not dissimilar to the way you experience it. It is simply that we recognize it for what it is when we see it, whereas many times you don't. The idea simply is that anyone we interact with is there for a reason, and we take it as a reflection, and we take it as a different aspect of the counterpart oversoul self, feeding back to us what it is we need to look at to allow ourselves to grow in the manner we have chosen to be. We still respect the individual in that sense. We do not, in your terms, disinherit their individuality. But we also at the same time recognize them to be an aspect of ourselves that we need to see. We simply recognize everyone as the expression of synchronicity they each chose to be for everyone else.
Is there a real difference between men and women? Male and female?
There is an obvious, to your terminology, physiological difference, yes.
But how about in terms of energy or roles in your society?
Not so much.
Is it... what about this whole idea of blending the male and female within ourselves?
Yes.
As we blend them, do we then become more neuter?
In one sense of the word, perhaps. But in a sense, not really, if you choose to maintain an individuality expression in that sense. You would still perceive, though each and every individual, male and female in our society, is the blended marriage of the male-female principle within themselves, him or herself, you would still experience our energy as either distinctly male or distinctly female.
And why is that?
Simply because that is how we choose to express ourselves relative to the ideas we wish to be in the universe in which we exist, because it also is very assistive in communicating with societies like your own that are still very much in the middle of exploring their polarities. And it assists them in giving them an anchor point.
But then that's the purpose. You have a purpose for maintaining...
Oh, yes, of course.
...a separation. But
yes.
In the general progress, if take away that purpose...
Then it would be mostly neuter.
What does neuter feel like?
Much like the idea of simply being non-corporeal. Although you will find that in your system, at first, you will still retain a high degree of identity to the idea of your last incarnation. Not so with us.
So that the, quote, differences between men and women are anchored in physiological differences?
Basically. They are simply the polarity expressions that exist within the soul as a unit. Expressed in physical terms, expressed in the dimension that does experience the polarities in separate ways.
But in non-physical reality, that polarity wouldn't be there.
It would not be perceived as such, no.
But is there not a positive and negative concept or energy in the universe or in non-physical reality?
In a sense, yes, but it is not perceived as you perceive polarities from your dimensional point of view. There is not necessarily exactly the terminology to be able to explain this to you. It is simply an experiential thing. You will understand it when you get there.
Well, for right now, my feeling is, if I may contribute this idea,
of course,
that as we blend the male-female energy within us, we can express both freely, and we are comfortable expressing both.
As
the characteristics that we consider to be masculine expressions and feminine as well.
As
Bashar, would you quickly, or slowly, give us a little of your impression of our plans for the December 31st, when we are going to be integrating the idea of world peace in synchronous harmony all around the world, with everyone focusing on this idea.
Well, obviously it will have an effect. There is nothing I need to say in that regard. It will obviously have an effect because it is an expression of your willingness. And it will make a difference. And it will create and add to the overall acceleration that you experience upon your planet.
Yes. Actually, my idea was, in thinking about this, that it's a physical universe expression to show ourselves that we've already made this decision. And I think it's very exciting and creative way for us to do that.
Thank you.
Also, I have another thing I'd like to share. The idea of expectancy I was looking at recently, and it seems to me that that idea is the feeling that a child would have expecting a birthday. They know something wonderful is going to happen, and they just tune into the idea of abundance. They have no specific expectations necessarily, but
very good
feeling of excitement.
A beautiful analogy.
And expectation.
Yes.
And I had a very lovely present recently because my cat, who was non-physical for about a year, is now physical again, and it's so exciting. I mean, obviously it's a different body, but it's exactly like the first one. And how she did this, it must have been a wonderful co-creation, because
just very natural.
I love it, and it just makes me realize all over again that the present is not the result of the past.
Thank you. One moment. There is now a bit of blending between us if we remain in this fashion for a while, if we wish to address the ideas through our consciousness to the aspect you call dolphin consciousness of dreamer.
Dreamer. Hello, old friend.
Will you sing your song?
Will you sing yours? I want to propose a little project with us. The first world open sea marine world in which we're going to build a little stadium up beyond the breakers, and you dolphins can come in at agreed upon times if you so agree.
We will attend.
Lovely, lovely.
Many such interactions taking place upon your world at this time.
Of course, and suggested potential sequence. Would love to meet with you down in the Maui area, and with some, of course, with some of your friends, as I realize your body is out in
New Zealand.
So, would enjoy meeting with some of your friends. Can you suggest time, location, how we could make this synchronous together?
Will be arranged. You will not miss. You will see.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you for that. See you then.
Ace.
Dreamer?
Ace.
I feel and sense an amazing connection to you or to some entity with the group. Now, would that be from the Atlantean times or?
Is connected Atlantean, is connected Sirius energy, is connected Arcturus energy, to some degree is connected Lemurian energy as well. All of these overlap and connect at this time many different representations of interaction taken place in times past with regard to your representation of us. Much interaction, Atlantean times, individuals with dreamers, with what you call dolphin consciousness. At early times, Atlantean times, many human, many dolphins share same dream, interchange body form, many times. Incarnation as each other, many times. Back then.
That's wonderful.
Not so much now. Happening rare. Can happen more. Time to come. Yes!
Thank you.
Do you know about the project at Santa Cruz for dolphin research? University of California, Santa Cruz?
Define!
They're going to start a project up there of dolphin research and communication.
We, in touch with consciousness dreamers, Malibu area will move up, down your coast. Some participate in that area. Some not. But some will.
This be a good project to work on?
You enjoy?
Yes.
Then good. Hey!
Can you share a dream with us?
Dream! Share, same dream, share before. All right?
Yes.
Well, dreamer at one time, be very excited, see all friends all time. Swim to each friend. When get there, very excited to swim off, see other friend, not spend time with any one friend, so busy being excited about seeing all friends all time. So all friends get together, say, we feel your love, we feel your desire for interaction all time. We decide to swim with you together all time in same dream. Original dolphins say, no, friend, that restrict your freedom. Friends say, no, we choose to be same dream. We free together to be same dream. Each of us go where others wish to go. All be free together at same time, synchronicity. Began, idea gathered together, all consciousness so. Original dolphin, be with friend all time, gathering together consciousness together, all dolphin become one being, manifest incarnation you call whale. That idea you call whale, physical manifestation, dolphin, representation, higher consciousness. Gathering collective consciousness, many dolphin is whale. That our story, in your term myth, in your term energy love dream, we share same dream. More participation, more interaction physical take place, more. We invite, you invite, we share, we be together, we do, we participate, we enjoy, have fun. You continue, have fun, same dreams, together share. We thank. Sure. Ace.
I'm having to face a lot of choices in my career, and I love the fact that I have the choices to make.
All right. There is no need for difficult decisions. Once again, simply examine and ask yourself honestly which one excites you the most. Act on that. If two or more feel like the same level of excitement, then that's your indication it doesn't matter which one you choose. If you choose one and the level of excitement in any of the other ones changes, then go back and choose that one, if it is in your terms greater than the one you have chosen. It is always very simple and easy to tell which path represents the path you chose to be. Simply follow the one at any given moment that excites you the most that you are capable of acting on. If it changes, follow the change. You do not need to create difficult decisions.
The one that excites me the most is the one that doesn't appear to offer any financial reward.
Appear. Appearance, as you say, can be deceiving. The idea is to understand again that if the one that excites you the most, excitement being the vibrational representative of the path you chose to be, thus excitement being the thing that will let you truly be yourself, if the one that excites you the most, which is to say the one that lets you truly be you, is obvious, then by definition it must bring with it whatever level of abundance is necessary to allow you to be that thing. The universe does not do pointless things. You would not be excited about something that couldn't support you to allow you to do it. You follow me?
Yes.
All you need is the trust. That is it. It is the only ingredient necessary to allow you to derive complete and total abundance from the thing that excites you the most. And simply trust that at any given moment, if the excitement shifts to something else, which on the surface may not seem to be connected, follow the excitement. We do not mean to be flighty. Truly listen to the excitement. Make sure you are not running from something, thinking, oh, this is more exciting, when in fact, this is more exciting, but because of your invalidation of yourself and your capability of doing it, the excitement may translate as great fear or anxiety. Be truly honest about the idea that is most exciting to you, the one that strikes a chord. Do it. At any given moment, do it. Trust the excitement. The excitement is always there to let you know that you are squarely on the path you chose to be. Not that you can really be off of it, but that you will be in synchronous conscious accord with it, and let it flow most easily when you follow your excitement. You follow me?
Yes.
Trust. Abundance is simply, once again, the ability to do what you want to do when you need to do it. It does not have to come in the form you call money. If that is the easiest way, it will take the path of least resistance, and that will be the way it comes. If the path of least resistance is not money, then trust that you will have whatever you need. Let your life become a series of surprises. You don't want it to be boring. All right. Once again, do not create it to seem so. For there are no boring situations. As we have said, only bored minds. Let yourself recognize that everything that will come to you by being who you truly know yourself to be will bring with it the same degree of ecstasy that needs to be there to allow you to continue to function as the being you chose to be. Effortlessly, smoothly, joyfully, ecstatically. ecstatically. All right?
Yes, thank you.
Recognize, if you wish, one more time the idea of a wonderful, wonderful coincidence in your language. Once you are moving, you are ecstatic. You follow me? Thank you. Guys.
I'm having a lot of trouble with my health.
One moment. Back up that reel. You got that out so fast. I've been having a lot of trouble with my health. You have been experiencing manifestations of your belief system. You have not been having any trouble at all. For you are manifesting exactly what is the reflection that you believe to be true. No trouble.
Can you help me unlock this belief system?
Maybe. What have you chosen to experience?
Pain.
In what way, in what form, in what areas?
Of my body, or just
Yes.
like allergies?
Like allergies. For how long?
Year.
8 years. All right. Is that it?
The reproductive organs, my female organs.
All right. Is that it?
Yes.
Thank you. Have you already, I will assume, availed yourself of what you call your typical medical practitioner?
Yes.
And what have you been told?
Stress.
All right. Do you believe it?
I believe I've created it for myself.
All right. Do you believe that what has created it is simply stress?
It's my belief system that's created it.
Yes, we know that. But is stress the representation of the belief system? Do you believe you are under stress?
Yes.
Why?
So you tell me.
We will tell each other at the same time. This whole idea is not about, as we have said, feeding you slices of bread. It is about allowing you to learn how to bake bread to feed yourself. All right? Now, in what way do you feel yourself to be stressed in life? What is it you believe causes you stress?
Taking care of myself.
Taking care of yourself?
Right, functioning every day.
Functioning! My. So you feel that you are not able, in a sense, to continuously and effortlessly reproduce yourself as you desire to be.
Which, I'm getting tired. It's getting boring.
All right.
I have to do something else now.
What would you like to do?
Just be free to.
Ow. What would allow you to be free? If you could do anything at all that you wanted, what would you choose to do and know that when you had chosen to do it, you would automatically feel free? Go on, use your imagination. What would it be? Anything at all. Pick one, pick two, pick three. I don't know.
I'd like to quit working and just study, go to school.
Study what?
Medicine.
Medicine. Oh, all right. That interests you, yes?
Yes.
How will you apply your knowledge?
By helping others overcome what I'm in the process of overcoming.
I see. Do you understand, of course, that a healer is simply someone who allows another individual to see a reflection of their belief system in that first individual and allows the other individual, the typical patient, to actually do the healing on themselves?
Yes, I do.
All right. Then, good doctor, why not be your first patient?
I'm working on it.
There is no need to work on it. Is that what you will tell your patient?
No.
I'm working on it. But doctor, I'm in pain. Can't you do something? Anything at all? Go away, don't bother me, I'm working on it. Now, let's play a little scenario. All right? Are you willing?
Yes.
Will you have a good time?
Yes.
No, thank you. Let us assume right now that you are the healer. Call it a doctor if you wish. It does not matter. All right? You are now the healer that you are, quote-unquote, planning to become. Right now, you are that healer. You have gone through whatever you have desired to go through to become that healer. It is all in your past. You are now the healer, all right? A patient comes to you with exactly the symptoms you have now or had then, before you became this wonderful healer. What would be if you truly had this patient before you? Now, truly imagine this patient is before you, speaking right to you. What would be your first idea that you would share with them? What would be your first instinctive information?
To calm them down.
All right, how?
How would I do it physically, or what would I say?
Any way you come up with. Do not question me about the idea of giving you a way or a methodology. How do you, you're the doctor, how do you feel like calming them down?
Well, I would use acupuncture to bring their body energy into balance so that they could start to experience a sense of calmness and then start to trust themselves.
All right. So you're saying that you believe that this patient will acknowledge the idea of the acupuncture.
Yes.
All right. Because you believe that you have attracted someone who would be similar to your own belief system?
Yes.
All right. Have you done acupuncture on yourself?
Myself, I've had it done to me.
All right. Same thing. Did it assist you at all?
Tremendously.
All right. In this way, then, are you saying that in your terminology the pain has returned?
It does return. And then I have another treatment and it leaves.
All right. In your terminology, how long are you without the pain in between treatments?
It is relative to how calm I stay.
All right. Can you, at any given moment, recognize that you can give yourself an imaginary acupuncture treatment?
Yes.
Can you allow it to do the same thing?
Yes.
Then why don't you?
I guess I will.
All right. If that is the way to allow yourself to cool out, then do so. Trust your imagination. It is there for a reason. It is there to allow you to draw from any idea you require to center your being. Now, as you already know, as a society, one very beneficial and very quick way of relaxing is to laugh. When you are under tension, why not simply laugh at all the tension you have gotten yourself into?
Thank you. I'll remember that.
All right. Our suggestion simply is, in general, when you find yourself in a situation that typically you say you do not enjoy, well, then get into it. If you're going to have misery and fear, have the best misery and fear you can have. Really live it up, become melodramatic about it, and pretty soon you will be having such a good time that the misery and fear will be a thing of the past.
Thank you.
I'm good
I will.
if you need some help.
That will help me.
Thank you very much. You.
I'm also involved in working with healing in people.
Yes.
And right now I'm currently working with something that I'm holding my hands on the most activated or depleted centers of the body in order to stimulate the body to balance its energy flows.
All right.
And I've been actually talking to patients for a long time, half an hour maybe sometimes, before I start to treat them, to watch them and they eventually activate more fully, it seems.
Yes, all right.
Their patterns.
Yes.
Which leads me to find out where most of their dis-ease is before I treat them.
Very good.
I hold my hands on those points of their body and they release that, and it's usually permanent, and I can build from there with them.
So you are saying synchronistically that you may also be able to be of service to this individual if she is willing to participate.
Yes, that's not what I had in mind when I mentioned this, but yes, why not?
All right. Therefore, you can avail yourselves each of the synchronicity of you having the healer you require and you having a patient
Of course. And,
if that is enjoyable.
Of course. And recently I've switched that a little bit in order to just begin by treating them and then communing with them in the joy of the release afterwards.
All right.
And working with their belief systems through a positive adrenaline.
All right.
Positive change.
Oh, very good.
And so I'm asking a little bit at the beginning here of my questions, if you see both of them as being an important part of the procedure, or if there may be a way in order to streamline this to be more effective to help more people in a shorter period of time.
You are the procedure.
That's true.
Be the way you wish to be. That excites you the most. Those will be the individuals you attract who are capable of availing themselves of the procedure that you are, and that is what will streamline your encounters.
Thank you. That's important. Sometimes when I'm working with people, I will have them at a certain position where I'm treating them, and I'll project things from my conscious mind, such as love, forgiveness, joy, gratitude.
Yes.
Do you see projection as being a form of hypnotism in a way that it may not be advantageous to do for a patient? Or do you find it as...
Let us simply say that if you believe that you are projecting with your integrity and that nothing is going to be forced upon them, then you will only attract the so-called patient that will avail themselves of it in a manner that will be beneficial for them and no other way. That is also a whole part of the belief system that you are. We don't have to break this down into pieces. You follow me?
I understand. You mentioned a while back about whole brain, and I have often felt that half brain. I actually feel that left and right brain is partly a pathological process.
In a sense.
And that the whole brain is the way to be it.
Yes.
Thank you for agreeing with me on that. Let's see. Since we are all entified lives, and as I understand it, the patterns that we build, our cage, so to speak, of our belief systems around us, are basically entities, devic lives or what have you, invoked into an activity, and they become patterns in our bodies.
Well, all right, that's one way to look at it. Although from our perception it is a little perhaps backwards.
Okay.
In order, not in the idea of judgment.
Understand. Is it possible I feel it's possible to communicate with these entities,
of course,
and release their pattern positions in the etheric web to free the etheric body for pure communion and communication in the cosmic human scheme?
Yes, because they are only extensions of your consciousness anyway.
Can you give some advice as to how to freely communicate with them and allow for us to have more free...
Use your imagination. They are only extensions of your consciousness. Use whatever methodology seems releasing to you.
Bashar, may I comment?
Absolutely.
Thank you. If I may say so, sometimes just light visualization, directed light beams.
Yes, yes. Many different methodologies are available to you. That is why your imaginations are so free. Whatever strikes the chord within you as the way to do it will be representative of your best way of relating to that idea. Trust your imagination and act upon it.
Bashar.
Yes.
I'd like to comment on this too.
All right.
Very briefly. Is it a truth to you that if the present isn't a result of the past,
yes,
that these patterns, we create the patterns
yes.
in the now to
yes.
experience working with them
yes.
to release them.
Yes.
So it's just a choice to have the patterns.
That's it.
Thank you.
Bashar, to finish up
yes.
with, since you were so wonderful at releasing certain energies in someone I know closely and now he's no longer going to work for me anymore, can you find me a new employee amongst these people?
What about the good doctor?
That sounds like a great idea. My last question.
You will attract whatever you need to attract.
I understand. Okay.
I know.
You talked with a friend of mine about epilepsy and brain disorders
yes.
in a private conversation, which I did not hear. And I was wondering if you could give me any ideas on how to help the seizure and the psychotic and the different manipulated brain patterns
yes.
in a physical treatment.
Thank you. We will be very brief and general for now upon this, since there is not the timing for specifics.
Okay.
But recognize that epilepsy and some of the ideas you express as psychosis are simply different manifestations of channeling energy, but it is being focused and funneled inward rather than outward. Recognize this. We are not saying this is so in every case, but it is a very common and typical pattern that many of the individuals you find to be what you call channeling in your society at this time have generally experienced either a seizure, a blow to the head, or a massive electric shock at some point in their lives. These ideas sometimes are simply your way of creating the necessary jolt of revelation to realign the neuronic pathways of the brain towards the focus of channeling, to allow that idea into your life. Therefore, certain individuals that exhibit some of these patterns are, let us say, inherent channels in that sense, but they are simply focused in a manner that is inward. They are cross-circuiting into themselves and not allowing it to flow outward in a communicative sense. Many times you will find, even though you may wish to think of the brain as a whole system, and you can, that because many individuals have thought of it as a left and right system, you can allow a balancing in epileptics to take place if you simply utilize your flow and direction of energy with regard to the two hemispheres and create the idea of an infinity symbol to allow the two halves to communicate with each other rather than short-circuiting in that sense, and allow them to blend. You may find that while you are directing them in this manner and orchestrating the energy within them in that way, you can actually completely halt a seizure in progress, and you can even extend this idea to individuals that stutter, for it is much the same idea.
This is working on my asthma right now.
Thank you.
I do this currently in my work with my fingers, working with the hemispheres and but the energy seems to move sagittally instead of coronally. Instead of, as you're drawing it there, drawing it forward to backwards, the infinity symbol. Is this just as effective, or is it important to make a change?
For now, we would go from hemisphere to hemisphere. You can have one going forward to back at the same time, because then that will allow them to access the nodal point in the center of the brain that is the communication doorway from other dimensions into this one, and vice versa.
Thank you. Can you do one more thing, and that is, I know you couldn't find a word for us that is surrender in the actual event, but can you create a sound, even from another society, a sound that we may interpret as this truth in new surrender?
Laughter. Laughter is centering. Yes. You follow me?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You are welcome. Yes.
Back to the epilepsy. Would you say that Dilatin has been harmful for people who...
Depends upon the belief system of the individual. In general, you will find that your so-called drug injection in this way is not really necessary. Recognize that the majority of individuals that you consider to be imbalanced mentally simply are experiencing different levels of their consciousness and have not been taught any way to communicate that in a manner that the society will accept. To put it very colloquially, approximately the idea you would call 85 to 87% of all individuals that you consider to be psychotic, schizophrenic, or disturbed in various similar ways, so to speak, disturbed, are simply psychic channels that don't know how to express it because they have not been taught that it is something the society allows. Therefore, it implodes within them and causes a cross-circuiting, a feedback loop that locks them into their reality with the inability to communicate it. Other channels and other psychics who are sensitive to that energy can assist them in bringing them out. Also, as you have already noticed, as in the case of autism and similar phenomena, the dolphin consciousness can be of great assistance to those individuals as well, for they have direct telepathic communication and can draw them out perhaps more easily than any words you might use in your language.
That's so interesting. talked with my mother and helping her understand her epilepsy, and I was wondering if you could further explain why it occurred right after she gave birth to her second child. She wasn't born with it, but it developed.
Our perception is that the agreement that was made with the second child is for the second child to put that individual in touch with certain aspects of herself that in many lives she has been afraid to face, let us say. And in this life has reinforced those fears with certain belief systems that she has been brought up with. She is now having to face those ideas. She can assimilate them in this present life and can allow herself to alleviate that idea if she will simply, once again, but trust her instincts and begin to rely more and more upon the idea of her feelings.
I think she's supposed to accomplish with that son? I mean, anything in particular that...
There can be specific scenarios, but at this time, we will simply allow the idea that communication between themselves with regard to the agreements they have made in meditative states, very centered, relaxed, meditative states, can put them for now in touch with some of these agreements.
Okay, thank you.
We will also suggest that some of this idea can come out in the dream reality.
Things can be resolved there.
And they can become conscious, so that when you awaken, you have conscious recognition of what the agreement is. Simply focus on the idea of wishing to know what the agreement is before you go to sleep, and simply allow themselves to wake up understanding that they have now got at least another different point of view regarding the agreement. And bit by bit, they will have conscious awareness of what the total agreement is, and bit by bit, the necessity of the experience of the epilepsy will wane as they integrate themselves completely. For in a sense, it is only an indication of lack of integration along certain lines. Those specific lines will simply be representative of the different paths that that individual chose to be in the many different lives they have lived. It is also one way to allow them massive acceleration in this life. Follow me.
Yes, I understand more. Thank you.
Bashar, is that why the feelings that I get when I'm aware of channeling, it feels like the beginnings of an epileptic seizure?
Yes. It is very similar energy in that way.
And also, when the physical channel is sometimes, it sometimes looks like an epileptic seizure when he's channeling.
Oh, interesting.
At this timing, allow us to once again extend our love to each and every one of you individually and collectively, and our appreciation in allowing us to experience the crystalline clear gift of your hearts. We thank you for your willingness and your sharing. We thank you for being willing to share our dream with us, and for allowing us to share your dream with you. A fond and unconditionally loving good evening and good life to you all. Everything down.
Marvelous. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for being here.